So yeah, walking with God is not easy, but walking with God make you feel like you have a purpose. It makes you feel like you have hope. I've gone through so many things in life because being a single mother has not been easy. But God always showed me that He was there for me. So it's been very good. The reason why I came to know about God, I was going through something. I was working in a company that I was taken there by my cousin. So they discovered that we are cousins, so I was going to lose my job. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know that you can pray to God to protect your job or anything like that. So somebody, I don't remember whether it was somebody or how I came to know about family media. Somebody told me I can call family media, I can pray with somebody, and God is going to restore my job. That's what I did. So I looked for the number, I called family media, we talked with somebody, we prayed, and that was it. I waited for the management to call me, to tell me my services are no longer needed, but it didn't happen. I ended up working there for almost 10 years, 10 to 12 years. So from that is when I started viewing God in a different way, because before I used to think God deals with important people, governments, things like that. But I came to realize God cares about me. So that is what drew me to God. I used to watch a lot of Joel Osteen. When you give to the work of God, then God will get very busy with your things personal.
A very good morning to you. Welcome to Motivation Monday, where we bring you challenging conversations and inspiring stories. Now, I've just come from doing a family devotion, and this week we're talking about wisdom for wealth, and quite a number of things came up. Wisdom was oozing, so to speak. But we want to change gears a bit because we want to talk about intentionality and the power of intentionality. Basically in everything. And joining me for this conversation is just the right person for it, because I am joined by Rebecca Mlawasi, who's an author, or part of the team that have authored a book, Why Intentionality Matters. Yes, and that is what we want to talk about today, the process behind putting this book together, why indeed intentionality matters, and how you and I can begin being intentional in all that we do. And so let me invite you to send in your comments, your feedback, your questions to 20316, which is our SMS line, or 0786316316, which is our WhatsApp line. We would love to interact with you. But let me ask you, even as we get to this conversation, are you intentional about things that you do, or do they just happen by chance? Are you intentional about what you do, or do they just happen by chance? I pray if you are the latter, that you will move to be those that are intentional after today's conversation. Let's get right into it. Karibu, Rebecca.
Thank you, Mokaya. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. It's good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Asante
sana.
Now, before we even get to our conversation,
yes.
Please just introduce yourself to our audience. Who is Rebecca, and why even we are seated having a conversation about intentionality?
Okay, Rebecca is, I'm Rebecca Mlawasi. I have journeyed through with the intentionality, as the book states.
Yeah.
So I'm a mother of two. I'm also, I'm a daughter, and I enjoy reading, writing, professionally. I mean, communications, PR to be specific.
Yeah.
But then I think as we were earlier having this conversation, I mentioned that I also was part of a production team at some point.
Yeah.
But then I think as we journey through life, we tend to switch gears, as you mentioned earlier, and we end up finding ourselves in spaces that we have built slowly towards, making a better space for ourselves in this world.
Yeah.
Yes, and generally, I think that would be me. And also, I co-authored the book Intentionality Matters with great, powerful women. So, so to speak, we came together to just form one beautiful story that should be told and has been told already, and we are continuing to speak in one voice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So you're saying you co-authored the book. Earlier when we
Yes.
were talking,
Yeah.
these were people you didn't know before.
Yes, interesting enough, we came together as, we all come from different aspects and professions. But then when we were, the selected few, we came together, everybody did, their bit. But now when we came to collectively now sit down and have this conversation, we realized that we have so much in common. So much in common that we had to actually sit and write a book, journeying through our lives, where we are today, what we had to go through to get to where we are today. And it was a beautiful thing, I tell you, Mokaya.
Yeah.
For sure, it was a beautiful thing. Yes, yes.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting because that's such an intentional thing because, I know of books where you have an editor, who picks different thoughts from different people.
Yes.
But I had assumed that this specific one, you guys are friends and you decided one day, guys, guess what? We can actually write a book, and you came up with this book. So it was interesting to actually learn
Yes.
that somebody was intentional about this idea, and then just speaking specific people that could add to that.
Absolutely, absolutely, because we tend to have a lot of untold stories, and I think where I am today, I've gotten to learn, nobody will tell your story better than you do. You will. But I think if I speak mostly about my chapter, I have not spoken a lot about my journey, but again also, I have given snippets of what intentionality is, the value of intentionality, how do we journey through intentionality, especially we are leaders at some point.
Yeah.
Because most people would say, oh no, I'm in this position, I'm not a leader. But even in your household, the person you live at home today, she's a leader in one way or the other.
That's true.
So as we journey through, what culture are we creating to be very intentional and tell ourselves, okay, this is a value that I've placed in my intentional journey. So as I journey through, what culture am I leaving behind? Because leadership is one, everybody's looking up to you because this is your space.
That's true.
We want to see how then are you walking through that path. How intentional are you to try and see? The observation is, personally I'd speak as a Christian. I believe in the power of prayer. I believe in God. And when I pray, I'm that person who will hold on to faith. I'm like, I know this is going to happen. But then life happens. Life happens in that we tend to get distracted because you're thinking, if it does not happen today, then it's not going to happen. But then if you're very intentional about achieving something, then I think earlier on as we were speaking, I told you I was in production and I switched gears again. I went into, sales. I went in, I've done a couple of things. I've had to pivot a lot in my career. But what that has taught me is it was preparing me for who I am today. Because I'd not be able to speak on different aspects if I did not get the experience from this side, this side, and this side. So what that tells me is people can easily be swayed. You can be intentional, yes, but you can easily be swayed. Why? Because life does not happen as we plan it. It switches in, anything small happens. If you're not very strong and you don't, you're not grounded enough, it's very easy for you to be swayed of intentionality. So the minute you have all these aspects in play, it becomes very easy for you to actually be patient enough to walk your journey. Yes.
All right. In your part of what is written in the cover of the book is that this is an invitation to reclaim your agency and architect a life of purpose and direction. Speak just a bit into that. What do you mean by us reclaiming our agency and us architecting our lives for purpose and direction?
Most times I have a vision today. I'll tell you I have a vision. But then the road to that vision is determined by so many things. So it's for me to sit and tell myself, I might have, I might have fallen back, but what am I doing to try and go back to the path that I was intended to?
Okay.
Because in most times, I think we look at, walking back and, just channeling yourself back to what you had planned to achieve in your life. And we could, I think as we had earlier spoken, it's very easy for you to lose direction. Because, like most of us have grown, in those times you go to the village, there's a path, yes, but there are quite a number, and if you're not very sure where exactly you're meant to go, it becomes very hard for you to now, direct yourself. But then losing the way doesn't mean you're not going to get to where you had intended to.
Yeah.
You can actually go back and tell yourself, you know what? This did not work. So what do I do?
Yeah.
And it's very hard for people. And I think I speak a lot about the COVID period. The COVID period came to shift a lot in our lives because you find that people lost jobs, and unfortunately, when people lost families, and you see people lost lives. So through that, people had to go back to the drawing board. I was one of those people who believed this is how my life should be. But then that taught me it's important for you to go back. It's like when you're launching an arrow. Yeah. You have to hold it and you have to pull back. So as you pull back to launch, you are preparing for a better, or you reach the aim and further. Yeah. So for me, I believe it's important for you to go back, strategize, rethink things through, plan again. Then now you can launch again.
So if I hear you right, you're saying sometimes we begin the path of life, whatever aspect, whether we are talking about career, whether we are talking about family, and in between something happens.
Yes.
That we don't have to, remain there and wallow in self-pity. We can go back and retrace our steps.
Absolutely. They say start again.
Yeah.
Start, it does not matter how many times you start.
Yeah.
In most cases we look at ourselves and we're like, oh my God, I'm about to hit 40, I'm about to hit 30. What have I achieved? But then we box ourselves in such a way, you're not thinking about what you want to achieve. You're constantly thinking, I'm almost hitting 40. I'm almost hitting 30. But then you lose direction, because what then is the meaning of that gap between maybe 30 to 40? So you're constantly trying to fill that gap, and you'll do anything to try and fill that gap. True. So that that again also is one way of you losing direction. So I think we need to stop boxing ourselves and just allow ourselves to make mistakes, allow ourselves to fall, allow ourselves to, to just do it. Just do it. If you don't do it right today, because we learn through mistakes. Most of us are not very keen to ask questions because you don't want to look like...
It's our 844 system.
Yes, yes. The teacher speaks, you listen. But now I think with the new generation...
And if you ask a question, the class will laugh at you.
Absolutely. So. But today we are raising kids, like I have a teenager. And they'll ask you questions which I think in our time we never used to ask. And you see, those are some of the things we need to embrace. Ask questions. Ask as much as you can. And even when you ask the wrong question, you'll still get an answer. Yeah. That's the beauty about it. You ask a wrong question, somebody will still answer you. So you get to learn through making those, those whether big or small mistakes. But then you get to learn. We've seen stories of people who have fallen back, and they have gone through even public shame. But how they come back to life and tell their story, they win actually by telling their story, because nobody tells it better than you. And through telling your story, you're inspiring somebody to either speak out or get out of that space where they thought, hey, okay, I didn't think I was going to get out of this. So it's important for us to keep checking our lives and telling ourselves, okay, I fell here, but I can get back and do something better. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody is listening or watching, and they're still trying to wrap their mind around this intentionality thing.
Yes.
And sometimes when it's embodied, it makes a bit more sense. So what does intentionality look like for you? You know, now this is Rebecca
Yes.
Mlawasi.
Yeah.
You know, somebody's like, I'm not able to grasp, you know, all the theories around this matter, but
Yes.
how does it look like in flesh and blood? So what does it look like for you?
Intentionality for me looks like waking up in the morning and telling myself, okay, yesterday I got up, I did maybe I did this. This is what is written by, you know, we work, we are in offices. But if today I'm given a task to undertake, and I tell myself, okay, this is the task I need to undertake, but what are you doing to go over and beyond, not just for an organization you're working for, but even for yourself. And I'm really glad because where my institution is one that has really invested in capacity building. So really, in as much as I'm growing to, you know, to plow into the organization, I'm also growing for myself. You know, because the skills that I attain for myself are also going to help this organization propel.
Yeah.
I look at the ladies that we have worked with in this the book.
Yeah.
And I look at the careers, you know, we are in different careers. But then intentionality has brought us to a point where we are thinking, okay, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this. But then I get an opportunity on my end. It does not matter who it is, but I bring them in. I bring them in. So for me, intentionality is not just what has been cut out for you, but going over and beyond what is the normal, and just do something, you know, something different. Like I think, so recently I spoke about an initiative that I'm trying to push to mentor the youth, because I feel like when I was growing up, I needed people maybe to speak to me about some of these things. But life then and now is totally different.
Yeah.
But then again, what am I doing to try and impact that person who's coming up? Whose hand am I holding? You know? So it's more of not what is the day-to-day thing that I do, but what extra am I going to, you know, to try and bring up another generation, try and bring out somebody who's in a dark place. So just trying to be better each and every moment. Yeah.
And so there's, in a sense, what's cut out. Say, if it is a career, if it is what's, you know, seemingly, this is how your life ought to be. But you're saying, but this is how I desire my life to be.
Yes.
And being intentional about pursuing that path.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But there's where you see yourself, you know, getting, where you want to be. There's where you envision yourself to be, and there's where you are. So that's, for every detour you're going to take, what impact are you leaving? Because we tend to be swayed when something doesn't happen your way, we beat ourselves up. We really beat ourselves up. But then, what are you doing along that, you know, along that period where you, where I am, where I want to go, and along the way, because along the way, a detour does not necessarily mean it's a bad one. At times you might, you know, be swayed on this side and you're thinking, hey, okay, I got something very good on this other side. So, whatever life brings to you, try make the best out of it. Try make the best out of it. Because we keep saying, and again I refer to the COVID period, life is not guaranteed. Your tomorrow is not guaranteed. It's only God who knows what our tomorrow is. So whatever day that you're granted with, make the best out of it. Be very intentional about the change that you want to make in that moment. For me, I think that has really been my greatest driver in life.
I don't know if you've heard the phrase, there are people who make life happen. And there are people to whom life happens.
Yes, yes, yes. It's pretty true.
Yeah.
It's very true.
Would you argue that the difference now is intentionality between those kinds of people?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because then, if life just happens to you, and that's I think most times people don't appreciate life as you know. Okay, there is when you really have to go through a lot of things for you to get to where you are.
Yeah.
You appreciate life differently. But then and I'm not saying it in a bad way, but again, if you got into life if you had a privileged life, you might not look at life the same way as look at somebody like Job in the Bible. If he tells you a story today, you say, hey, yeah, I don't have any problems.
Yeah.
My problems are just not problems. But again, it's all a perspective issue. It's perspective, how you look at life, how I look at life. But then don't allow life to happen to you. Allow yourself to, allow life to happen in such a way that you have lessons out of that life. You'll appreciate life differently.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
At times it's not planned, but again, when you go through life like that, how you appreciate life is totally different. Yeah. Yes.
And I'm wondering how it looks like for you. Maybe this thought, and then we'll take a break. That whole conversation around life happening to you or you making life happen sometimes has to do with, whether you are living a joyous life or not. How does it look like for you intentionally, in terms of you guarding your joy, so that you do not have this constant ups and downs?
Yes.
At one moment things are good at work, so I am yay, and then at another moment things are not so good.
Yes.
So are you intentional, for example, about your joy?
I am because I believe I'm one of the happiest people. I tend to really embrace life in a different way. But then again, that doesn't mean I'll always be smiling every day. But then when that moment comes where I have to reflect and tell myself, I don't like how things went today, I allow myself to feel. I allow myself, if I'm not happy, I allow myself to not be happy for a moment though.
Yeah.
But then after that, I need to sit and reflect and ask myself, so what am I doing about it? This has happened. But then for how long do I want to mope about it? For how long do I want to carry it? Because they say, at times, things will fall by. Things will not happen as you planned. But how you respond to a situation is very important.
Yeah.
Because it really influences how you face it. If you start your day on a bad note and decide, no, I'm not going to allow this. I'm going to do it differently.
Yeah.
So it becomes a bit different because then you have chosen to be happy. But then that doesn't necessarily mean you constantly have to be happy.
Yeah.
But one thing I'll tell people is it's important to feel what you want to feel at the moment. Because we tend to really struggle to, I don't want to be sad, but I'm sad. I don't want to be... Yeah, but again, feel what you need to feel at the moment, but then don't let it last. Make a difference. Tell yourself, this is not me. If that is not the person you are, then choose a different path.
Yeah.
Choose a different path, because you attract better when you're a beautiful soul, or you're an open and happy person.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in other words, you may not necessarily determine what comes your way, and there are many things that come our way that you're not in control.
Yes.
But you are in control of how you respond.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I look at the workplace. The workplace is a space where we are all raised differently.
Yeah.
We all come from different households. You cannot expect me to embrace you the same way I would embrace anybody else. And that's why for me, when it comes to organizations and spaces where you're dealing with more than 2 or 3 people, it's important to have emotional intelligence, because this is one aspect of life.
Yeah.
Once you understand it, it's very easy for you to now work around people.
Yeah.
It becomes a bit easy for you to work around people. So how we respond to the world determines how we live our lives. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
I want us to take a pause and then
Okay.
we'll continue this conversation. I want us to listen to a story of impact, and then when we come back, we continue this conversation.
All right.
We're talking about the power of intentionality today, and I hope and pray that you're learning something, how you can be intentional in your life, how you can reclaim some of those things that were seemingly lost, retrace your steps, and begin building back again. For now, I want us to listen to Imelda as she gives her story of impact, the influence that family media has had on her life, and then after that, we continue with this conversation. And even as we do that, feel free to send in your comments, your questions, your feedback, and also join together with Imelda and many others that have come alongside us as family media to ensure that we keep Jesus on the airwaves. You could feel free to donate to the work that we do here. 316 is our pay bill number for account. Just write your phone number. For now, let's listen to Imelda, and then we continue with this conversation.
My name is Imelda Nongari Heho. Heho is my father. I also have my mom, my big sister, my brother, and we also have a niece and a nephew. I hold a bachelor's degree in information system and knowledge management. I love Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is my life, is my reason, is my purpose. I am passionate about missions. I am a preacher myself, and I thank God. Actually, I've come from a church PCA. So children are usually baptized while still young, but what I can remember is back in campus. Campus, there's a lot of things that goes on. Sometimes you get lost, you don't even know. So I was in that year. I remember, I said that I came back to Jesus. Doesn't mean that I was like lost, but in campus you get mixed up with a lot of things. So in that year, I came back to Christ. I remember it was during a worship experience, and wow. So I was like, God, I'm sorry. Yes, I am in campus. A lot has happened. I didn't even know that I had gone far from you. I had no idea. So I'm like, God, I'm here now. I'm so sorry. Forgive me. And I felt His Holy Spirit. Actually, that was my very first, I can say, encounter with the Holy Spirit. I felt His power. He came over me. So I was at home tuning in the radio, searching for a station to listen to. So during that process, I had Family Radio 316. There was this song that was playing, Merciful, Wonderful Savior. But I remember during that season, I had this disturbance. But when the song sang, I felt a deep sense of comfort. So that was my very first encounter with family media.
We invite you to become part of the family that is helping keeping Jesus on the airwaves by making a donation to M-Pesa paybill number 316 with your phone number as the account number.
When you give, we will receive a reward from God Himself. And just like I also said that you cannot outgive God, it's better you give to Him and you see His miracles, His open doors, because He will show you, He'll provide for you, than saying, let me keep this money to buy this and that. It will take a long time. But when you live to God, when you give Him, He will surprise you with miracles that you cannot comprehend. So just let us give. And actually, don't ever say that you're giving to God. God is the one who has given it to you. He delights in doing great things to us. He delights in giving us great things. So if He gives you, and if He wants to give you and He finds your hand is like this, then how can He give it to you when you're not stretching it out? So you should give, stretch it out, so that when God comes, He finds, the hand is also ready, because it has already given, and God will give more abundantly, will exceed our expectation. God is God, God is good.
Welcome back. This is Motivation Monday, where we bring you challenging conversations and inspiring stories. And today's conversation is on the power of intentionality, and helping us with this conversation is Rebecca Mlawasi, who is a co-author the book Why Intentionality Matters, and that is what we are talking about today. And so I want us to just get right into it as we glean some more on how you and I can be intentional. Welcome back, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Now, in your chapter where you talk about the value of intentionality, you give several examples, for example, of people who embody intentionality, especially when tied to the power of purpose. Do you want just to speak into that even as we continue?
Yes, I would. Maybe one key example I'd just highlight and not just really speak, because we still want everybody to to get part of this book. I think one key leader that I've spoken about is Bob Collymore, the late Bob Collymore.
Yeah.
And I think I was very keen on what he, I feel like he transformed Safaricom to something great. Because there's how he led with empathy, and he humanized the whole brand.
That's true.
So for me, the leadership approach he took in that specific leadership position, it was very intentional, because he didn't come to just lead and generate income. For him, it was more about the people.
Yeah.
And if you look keenly, especially as a leader, how you relate with people will really influence a lot of things.
Yeah.
Because today, if I work at Family Media today, and I see how we relate with the whole team, especially from top leadership, and there's that human nature that we get, there's that interaction that you get, how you relate even to the public, because in a service industry, it's key for you to actually have, especially if you're offering services to the people, how you relate to the people, because he not only brought that human nature touch into the organization, but even to us people who subscribe to the brand. You feel like you're part of the brand. You don't own shares in that brand, but again, you feel like you're part of it. So I think in many aspects, we tend to want to lead, but we just want to lead to lead and work. So I don't leave an impact in the end, but all I want to do is to be a leader. Leadership has very many angles to it. Yeah. But the minute you know how to approach it, especially if you're dealing with people, or regardless, in one or the other, you will deal with people. Yeah. But then how you approach it becomes very important for you to, to hack it as a leader. Yeah. Because it's not about I come in, do my 10 years and leave. But how you relate with people, it really impacts a lot of things, a lot of aspects, both in your life, their lives, and the world around. Yes. Yeah. So for me, that was very key for me. I saw it as something very unique. Yeah. Yeah. That's why I was very keen to mention it, and, as an example.
And I think part of that, even for one to have that kind of a unique, leadership approach to things, and so. You not only humanize people, but also the profits followed. It's not like the company sort of lost. But you had mentioned initially something about emotional intelligence, which I think was crucial there.
Yes.
And what I am interested in, is there a correlation between emotional intelligence and self-awareness? And how does then one sort of, in a sense, navigate that and marry the two, so to speak?
Yes, and I think nowadays it's become very popular. A lot of people are going in to do, you go to, I think we even have sites where you're just trying to be self-aware, trying to know, like, I lead with red, I'm a fairy red, they call it fairy red. So there's how I'd want somebody to approach me, and there's how somebody else wants to be approached. Yeah. So these are two different people who come with different personalities. So getting to know myself and at times it's also important to get to know the other person. That's why even doing this self-awareness test is very important. But then when I get to learn how I want to be approached, I should not expect the other person to approach me the same way. But then getting to know myself makes it easy for me to deal with other people. So how do I do that? You just try and see. Today I come to Mokaya, and how I talk to him today, the response might not be as I hoped it would be. If you're not very conversational with that person, you might not be able to get the exact, to know how this person is.
Yeah.
But then try engage and see, if I went to this person today and this was the approach they took, then how do I better get to this person and speak to them to be able. So it's not more about ourselves, it's more about the other person. And I think if we constantly do that, we tend to really match up the energies, because we constantly want to be understood, and to be the one in that space where, no, this is how I want things to be done. But how does that other person want things to be done? So once you get to sync that energy, it becomes very interesting, and it becomes easy for even people to coexist.
Yeah.
There's self-awareness, and there's also the fact that you are also, trying to be aware of what other people also want. Yeah, so it's just being very intentional, not to overstep.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But then leadership approach in a way that we all are self-aware, it becomes very, very smooth and synchronized. Yeah.
So I'm able to tell how I am probably going to respond to a particular situation.
Yes.
And so I make provision for that.
Absolutely.
But also I'm making provision for other people as well.
Because I'd give you, there's an example that was given to us earlier by one of our leaders. And they said they had one of their leaders, somebody they'd report to. So you do go in the morning, say good morning, they won't respond. They too say good morning, they won't respond. But they're not responding because they don't like you. Maybe I'm not a morning person.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just going through something. But you see, we tend to form notions and opinions about people way faster than we have understood them. So we need to try and understand where people come from. And I think but still speak on intentionality, because once you get to understand where this person is coming from and approach it from their perspective, it becomes easy for you now to, if it's a conversation, it becomes a bit easier. Yes. So it's just understanding each other. Understanding each other. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, maybe if we change gears just a bit, one of the things I know sometimes I am guilty of is to speak lofty things, but little action. So I have this, big ideas, I talk big, but when you come behind the scenes, there is little action.
Yes.
Just speaking to that space, as they say, talk is cheap, so to speak, because I mean, it is okay to talk about intentionality and all that, and its value and the power of purpose and, such things. And I mean, encouraging people to just buy the book and gain even more. But how do we move from just mere talk to actual, real action?
When we did the book, I was very excited about doing the book. And when you're told we need to hit 100 cells, you're like, that's easy. We'll do it in 1 week, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But you get to learn it's not as easy as it looks. It's not as rosy as it looks. Even writing that book itself is not as easy as it looks. But I think one key thing we need to really really do is set goals.
Okay.
Setting achievable goals. Because most times we'll say, okay, I want this and this and this. And just on a light note, people say at times you're even disturbing God too much because you ask for things which you yourself are not putting the work. So you believe, what they say, words without action.
Yeah.
And many a times we want to achieve so much, so much.
Yeah.
But we're not putting the work. So I think we just need to set achievable goals and tell ourselves, just look through every day, ask yourself, I had, intended to do this on this day. How far am I?
Yeah.
And if I was not able to do it, why was I not able to achieve this? And, just looking back and trying to see how far you are. And I think we are constantly telling ourselves, I have a New Year resolution. I think I used to do New Year's resolution until I realized I'm not achieving. Either I'm not achieving any or I'm not achieving most of it. So how I chose to do it, I decided, instead of having New Year resolutions, which, you do it in a very glamorous way because you're thinking, okay, the year has ended, I've not achieved anything, so let me hit the road. So just give yourself 2 or 3 things to do. But then as you continue to work through them, ask yourselves, is it something that is achievable? Because, as you say, I think we tend to set very, you tell ourselves I want to achieve something. Yeah. But in your mind, you know very well, I'm just joking, I'm just joking. Yeah, so I think we really need to sit down and, know what your journey is, what you want to put into that journey. Is it going to propel you? And if it's going to propel you, to what direction do you want to go? Yeah. And if this is something that you have seen as something that really is something you want to, to work on, I believe it becomes very easy to now work through it. It becomes very easy to work through it. Yes. Yeah.
How did that look like for you, writing the chapter in the book? Because one of the things that I know, and you've mentioned, that is difficult. Yes. Is writing. So how do you go about goal setting, evaluating, and at the end of the day, you have your chapter. At the end of the day, everyone has brought in, their chapter, and you have an entire book.
I'll honestly tell you, my dad was a journalist, and I thought I'd pick it up very fast. But then for me to go the direction of to do media production, it's because I did not want to write much. But then as I went through life, I realized, my mom was a teacher, and she's one of those people, she will write, at some point she wanted to write a book. And I told myself, for me to be able to get through life, because then I was drifting away from media production, and I realized a lot of what I'm doing requires me to write. But then even as we were doing the chapter, I remember after I was approached, and when you need to do the brief, just send a brief about what you'd want to write on and all that, because we had 2 different topics that we were to write. There was intentionality and imposter syndrome. But then to some extent, I sat and told myself, instead of doing imposter syndrome, why don't I touch on intentionality? But be very honest with you, there's a lady we kept having conversation with from the publisher, and she'd send me messages every Monday. You told me you're going to submit by this date. When are you submitting? You're thinking, oh my goodness, it's her. And you see her call, and you're thinking, oh God, I was to submit, I have not. I was to submit, I have not. At times, yes, we have some other things we're doing, but there's that time where you do not have anything to. Your mind is just blank.
Is it the writer's block, as they call it?
Absolutely. So I think I one day sat and told myself, if I don't do this, it's an opportunity not everybody has been offered. It's an opportunity that has come, maybe it's once in my life, and it might be this that will open other doors. So one day I sat and told myself, you know what, I need to be serious about this. And that's how I submitted my brief. And after that now came the book. The book also, it was the same thing, because you get to a point where you write. I remember I wrote like twice or thrice. Because then the approach that I started with was a bit different from what I ended up writing about. Why? Because there's how I had wanted to tell this story, but I realized at some point, if I tell this story in this way, I might not be able to give the correct version of what I intend to bring out intentionality as. So when I chose a different path, it became a bit easy for me to write. So I think at times also, we don't need to really jump into things. It's important to sit and strategize and ask yourself, I have 3 different aspects of it. Which direction do I want to take? Yes. So it's important to reflect. Yeah.
You've mentioned something interesting there. This lady from the publisher that would call you, and I am thinking of that as sort of accountability.
Yes.
Where is the space of accountability in being intentional then?
The space of being very intentional, is the fact that in as much as I got carried away by maybe my work and the fact that there was also self-doubt because I had sit and asked myself, I'm doing a book, right? I'm doing, you constantly have to, and you feel like there's that perfection that has to come with it. Because honestly speaking, I wrote this thing thrice. And the first time I did it, I told myself, no, I can't tell this to the world. I cannot tell this to the world. And there's the self-doubt actually, and that's why I was very keen on the imposter syndrome also. Because we are constantly doubting ourselves. We constantly tell ourselves, I'm not good enough. You constantly tell yourself, if I do this, what are people going to think? Yeah. What are people going to say? Even as of now, I still, when I sell the book and I ask somebody, so please, when you read it, please give me feedback. Not because of anything, but I still want to get people's perspective of it. Yeah. And nobody will come and tell you, no. Unless it's a very close friend of yours. Most people will tell you the chapter is very good. But we're looking for the why. The why why are people, what are people saying? Yeah. We constantly want to be negatively corrected, to be able to feel like, you see, yeah, I told you, I told you. But then again, I think that is what also kept holding me back. But then when I became a bit more intentional about, let me speak out, let me just say what I need to say. Because even journeying through my career, it's been that journey where at times you write something and you might know in your head it's good, but somebody else might even rubbish it. Yeah. But then it's just telling yourself, I think I'm ready. Yeah. Let me put this out and let me hear what the world has to say. Yeah. Whether good or bad, I'm ready to hear and make a difference. Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
As we gear towards, a conclusion, maybe you could say if somebody wanted the book, where they could get that, and then later I'll invite you to make whatever your parting shot would be and what you would like to encourage those listening and those viewing. Maybe you could begin if somebody wanted a copy. Where can they get that?
Okay, the publisher is Zion Publishers, and we are currently, I think because it's just a team of us, we all have copies. We all have copies that in case somebody would want, becomes very easy for us to just sign and deliver a copy. We also have it on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we have it on Amazon for anybody who is not within the country. It becomes a bit easy for them to access it. So we if the books are available, books are available for anybody who would want. They can, they can write to me. They can follow me on social media. And always get copies. Yeah. You can follow Zion Publishers, any of us, the ones we've authored the book. Yeah. It becomes very easy for us to get it to you.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, your parting shot to the people tuned in, what would you like to wrap this conversation on the power of intentionality, and what would you like to speak to those listening and watching?
Thank you. And I think for me, one key thing I'd want to speak about when it comes to intentionality is know your value. And even as you know your value, as you journey through with intentionality, create that space and create an atmosphere where intentionality is at play. Because most times we are constantly self-doubting and we don't know really what path we need to take. So I think one thing I'd really push and tell people to do is walk with intentionality, know the value of intentionality, and as you journey through intentionality, maybe it's important that you reflect, re-strategize, and see what impact you're making in people's lives. It becomes very easy for you to choose a correct path and walk through it. Thank you, Mokaya.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Rebecca.
Thank you too. Thank you.
Mr. John Githanga says, this is an informative and inspiring conversation. Indeed, intentionality is an uphill task, but very beneficial at the end of the day. I've been writing a book about Nakuru's golden era, albeit on and off. I'm inspired again.
Oh,
so you've inspired somebody to pick up their writing. Thank you, John Githanga.
Thank you.
Oh, I hear Zablon Mlawasi is on YouTube.
Oh.
Thank you, Zablon.
Thank you.
Are you related?
Yes, that's my brother.
Thank you, Zablon.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Rebecca.
You.
And thank you for even putting your thoughts, you know, in a book so that it would outlive you.
Yes.
And so we thank God for you, and thank you for joining us for today's show.
Thank you so much, Mokaya. I truly appreciate it, and thank you for the opportunity.
Asante.
All right.
Asante sana.
Okay.
Well, we have come to the end of our conversation for today. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for all those that have tuned in on radio, on TV, and those that are on YouTube. It is my prayer and hope that you will begin to be intentional in all that you do. Know your values, you know, set out goals, have someone to keep you accountable. You know, if you deviate from the path, it is not all lost. You can retrace your steps. All in all, it is my prayer that you will actually seek to be intentional. This is all we had for you for today, and so we'll join you. Please do join us again on Monday for another episode of Motivation Monday. But before I go, again, just a reminder of the fact that we continue being able to bring you these kinds of programs and the many that will come throughout the day because we have partners, men and women like yourself. And so let me invite you to consider perhaps donating to the work that we do here. Earlier I had mentioned the pay bill number that you can feel free to do that, but you can also feel free to make a bank deposit or a bank transfer through our cooperative bank account number, which is 0113 6000 799100. The account name is TBN Family Media. May the Lord bless you. And please go out there. John Githanga is inspired to pick up writing again. I don't know what you're inspired to begin doing again. Those dreams that died, those dreams that you buried, you can pick them again. And with intentionality, you will achieve. May the Lord help you. See you next week.